I'm Tiffany Michelle here with Kara Scott. We have some big news coming out of your life, but also coming from the 888 Poker team and productions. Kara, you are about to start hosting a podcast. First of all, tell me the name and tell me about the podcast.
Well, the podcast is called The Heart of Poker, and it kind of comes from my favorite part of the game, and my favorite part of the whole community is the people and the stories. And now I love a good strategy podcast, but I'm not going to be doing a strategy podcast. This is it's an interview, but with a difference. So I'm hoping the difference is what catches people's eye.
And when I heard that you were doing a podcast, I'll be honest, I was like, do people still listen to podcasts? Are people still interested in poker podcasts? And you, as you're telling me about it, you actually, what makes this kind of so unique and different, and also kind of will get an audience maybe outside of poker?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. So the concept for the podcast is, about 25 years ago, a group of psychologists came up with 36 questions that get progressively more kind of personal and intimate as you go along. And two people, strangers, were supposed to ask each other these questions and discuss them, and it would make people fall in love. This was what they wanted to see if it would happen. And apparently people have actually done this. I've seen people online who've done this as strangers and have fallen in love. So it works. My concept is, I'd like to introduce all of these poker characters that we already know so well in a very different way and try to make the audience fall in love with them the way that I do. Because when I'm doing my interviews, especially for the World Series, for the final table, I really get in depth with them off camera. And I'm so fascinated by their stories, and I really do end up feeling this warmth, not love. I'm not falling in love with everyone. I just want to put that out there.
A
I
connection.
fell in love with one and I married him, but that's it. But yeah, that connection, that sense of human connection, seeing behind the mask, that's what fascinates me. So I'm hoping that everyone will listen for that.
Will you give me just one teaser, or maybe two teaser questions? What are two questions in the list of, you said it's like 36 questions to fall in love with some, in case our viewers, poker players need some help, I think, in the romance department. So what are two questions like on a date that a poker player could ask the person they're sitting across from?
I don't even think these would work if you asked them in isolation. I think the whole point is it has to get progressively more personal, because if you did this, if you ask someone, out of all the members of your family, who would be the most upsetting if they died? I mean, what kind of a question is that?
Don't start with that,
no, that's
actually.
Awful.
No.
I don't think I've not asked anyone that, because I'm picking and choosing, because clearly 36 questions would take hours, but that's one of them. And
What's
then,
a good question, though? Like a good date question, just isolate.
A good date question would be, what is a treasured memory that you have from your past? And I've gotten some really interesting ones as well. I've interviewed 3 people so far for the podcast, and I've had some really cool answers to that one that really kind of give you an insight into their soft insides.
Well, you are getting me excited to listen to the podcast. Where can people find it, and give me a teaser of who they can expect coming up on the podcast?
Well, the first episode is with Chris Moorman, and honestly, could not have picked a better guest. He is fantastic in it. And you can check it out on Spotify or Podbean or a million places where you all listen to your podcasts, I'm hoping. But yeah, podcasts on Podbean and Spotify for sure.
Right. So check out Chris Moorman, other poker pros. Be prepared to fall in love. Great to see you here in Madrid, Kara. For Poker News here at the 888 Poker Live Madrid Festival, I'm Tiffany Michelle.